The papers today, by the way, you can watch live on Facebook. We're also live on YouTube. Let's know what you think concerning the headlines we're about to bring you. We're going to start with the Vanguard newspaper, page 5 of the Vanguard. Nothing to restructure. Angry Sans elders battle Buhari.
I don't know. For the past 2 years, you have these things coming up about once a week.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're wondering, okay, so what do we have to say about this? I think we need to, to be systemic in the things that we do. We need planning, and we need deep thought before we carry out certain actions. Chief Clerk and certain persons are angry that the president, he says he doesn't believe in restructuring. So what? That's his belief. He has a right to his belief. But the question is, what do you want to do about it? What you want to do about it is very simple. You have senators, you have House of Reps. 2 years from now, you're going to have a new government. Why don't you make sure that you sensitize your people to make it an issue in the next election, rather than blowing hot air left, right, and center? When I hear things like nobody can intimidate us, you're already speaking as if you're intimidated. No one can dictate to us. Yeah, he gave his own opinion. You have a House of Reps, you have a Senate, you have a National Assembly that is in principle supposed to take care of the wishes of the people. That is why all these groups need to go back to the base, sensitize their people, and say to them, anybody you're going to elect must have this in mind. But the question is, do majority of your people have this in consideration? You see, why are you saying that you don't want anybody to dictate to you? You want to dictate to other people. You are not elected people anyway. And it says that he's not running the Nigerian government, he's running the government of people who are not elected, and those talking who are not elected. It says that's what Buhari is said to have said. But all this blowing hot and cool, why don't we, rather than, if we have genuine intentions, we can do that without blowing hot air, without saying, oh, the country is going to break. Nobody is breaking anything. This is part of development. It is part of development. And look, you have a president whose habits you already know his mind. He has just about 2 more years to go. Why don't you start some? It's not going to be an event. To have restructuring is not going to be an event. You have elected persons there. Lean on them. Make it an issue 2 years from now. If we decide 2 years from now that, okay, now is the time for us to have restructuring, then it's not too late. But you don't want to heat up the polity, hit it up to a point where you don't even, if you're not careful, you don't even now get a chance to elect a new government in 2023. So I'm going to be appealing to all and sundry. Hold your fire. Go back again to the trenches. Talk to your people. Make sure anybody who is going to represent you represents the views of the majority. It might not necessarily be the views of the loud minority. Now, I'm saying this in general terms. I'm not saying that the views of restructuring or those who want restructuring are not in the majority. I've not done any poll to assess that. But it is important that we at this point in time, we try not to heat up the polity, to heat up the polity and put ourselves in a bigger crisis. So I'd like to appeal to older Nigerians and various groups, sounds whatever. Let's be strategic in these things.
Right.
There's no point always running to and the media too. There's no point accommodating all these things all the time. Every day you open the papers, somebody is threatening the country will divide, the country will burn, the country will this. The country is not going to burn just because what you think has not taken place. That's what democracy is all about. The minority will have their say in an orderly manner, and the majority will have their way in an orderly manner.
Sam is watching on Facebook. Sam says, Jimi, look at the issue dispassionately. Restructuring is one of the major campaign slogans. It's very necessary to take him against his promises, not to look at the reactions of people.
You cannot... Look, when you're running a relay, do you look back before you hand over the bat? The answer is no. You can't run forward and look back. You've had this gentleman for 6 years. You know his habits. All of us, you fall our hand. But let's move forward And don't hit up you don't hit up the polity unduly when just 3 years away you have before you know it is Christmas, we're already in an election year. So don't hit up the polity. That's why I'm not saying don't hit up, leave this man alone. Don't hit up the polity. Let's start planning, or else we'll be caught flat-footed. You spend all your time arguing on what Buhari did and what he didn't do, what he promised, and what you spend all your life doing that. You take your eyes off the ball. Before you know it, you have another person that doesn't, that is not.
Before you know it, there's time to vote another people.
To vote another person, and then you find yourself between a rock and a hard place. The likes of Chief Clark, all these sons, by now, they should be moving around and trying to see who can take this country out of this mess and do the things that we think are appropriate. That's all you need to do. So I'm sorry. I'm not saying I'm not against restructuring per se, even though I believe that restructuring is not an immediate problem. People misunderstand that to believe that. As I don't believe. How can you not have you restructure every day? Mm-hmm. Every day, even in your life,
your personal life,
in your personal life, you restructure every day. Don't forget all the political rhetoric. It happens every day. Restructuring goes on. Restructuring means realignment. Saying, okay, we did it this way, let's do it the other way. That's a decision. You don't come on the same route to work every day. You restructure when you're living.
You don't take the same steps. You don't step.
Yes. I mean, so don't let's burn our candle at both ends. Let's focus. Let's look towards 2023, or else we'll be caught pants down again.
We're going to take a look at the editorial from the Punch newspaper this morning, page 16. World Bank's warning on reforms apt.
Well, the issue about this World Bank warning and so on and so forth calls to play what some of us have thought for a very long time, that it is time we had a homegrown economic program that, for all you care, you could say would be peculiar to us. I've had the advantage of attending, I think I attended 2 IMF meetings.
Okay.
And I attended one World Bank meeting and had lunch with them. That was during Babangida's time when they were trying to get us to take the IMF loan, which a lot of us believed would have imprisoned us. We ended up taking all the conditionalities without taking the loan. Those who were around then will remember that we devalued overnight. And see where we are now. From that, when I traveled to America, then I bought money on the black market from a bookie at 4-1. Then this was just 80, whatever it is. And look at today, the pound now is as at last week Wednesday was 705, and you keep telling us our naira is overvalued. So I think it's time both us and other developing countries need to take a second look at what we are doing. We need to take a second look at what we are doing. Is there something sinister in some of the policies of these world bodies? Or are we not following the rules to the letter? What exactly are we doing? One thing I know, and I keep repeating, is that we live in a very, very competitive world. And the less developed you are, the bigger the advantage for the developed countries. There's no debate on that. So if at all times now you get these things about IMF, World Bank, they handpick a few of your people, put them in strategic places and so on and so forth, and you don't seem to realize that it's some form of imperialism, good luck to you. I think that it's time we had our own homegrown policy that would work for us in our own circumstances. We're still a long way from that. We haven't recovered from colonization. We haven't recovered at all. We haven't recovered one bit. We recovered one bit. But hopefully with time. You see, things take time. Things take time. And we need to be patient. Very few things in life are an event. Usually it's a marathon. And then we need to have that attitude of planning and thinking of the larger part instead of thinking individually. Before I go on the long lecture, let's go to the next. So this editorial talks once about our Reforms Act, but I said to myself, maybe now is time for us to start asking ourselves, what are the plans that we even have to develop our country? What I would call a homegrown plan. What are the plans that we have? We can't do things the way other countries do it. One, two, we can't submit ourselves totally. Okay, we can't submit ourselves totally to advice from these other countries because we are competitors. You know, it's like asking Mohammed Ali's coach to come and coach no, there's no Lat Darasin again. Bachalin.
You know,
Where is Bachalin, sir?
he's around. He's around somewhere.
He doesn't want to box anymore.
No, he's retired. Definitely retired. The other day,
Are you a boxing fan?
Yes, I am.
I'm only a Muhammad Ali fan and Tyson. I like watching Tyson because it doesn't waste your time.
Yeah, he doesn't.
You just go take a coffee, you sit down 3 minutes after you go to bed.
Well, you can tell that you can tell that to those that will go and watch him live and spend a lot of money to watch him, only for them to get there and sit for seconds and the match is over.
But you don't want to miss those seconds. You don't want to miss those seconds. If you are still trying to arrange your seat, the fight is over.
I know. That's how brutal he was. Vanguard newspaper this morning, page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper. 2023, we are working on Igbo presidency. Baribe Moghalu.
Well, that's good. I thought that I'm hoping that the work is far gone. It's almost late. In any serious environment, it's almost a bit too late to start showing interest in the presidency, to be honest with you. So far, we have only one front runner, really. We haven't heard about other people, but it's good for us to hear that Abaribe and Moghalu, in any case, wants to contest again. And the story says that the Igbo have agreed that what they should do now is to become presidential candidates in most of the 19 political parties and use them to contest for a Nigerian president of Southern extraction in the 2023 general elections. They were of the opinion that, going by Buhari's recent utterances and body language, it is most likely that his administration would engage. It is unlikely that his administration would engage in any restructuring agenda. Hence, they should forget about restructuring for now until the president exits office in 2023. Give this guy a cigar. That's the way it should go. Leave him. I mean, let's just manage him till we can leave. And then he says they were, however, in agreement that since the Igbo were not second-class citizens in Nigeria, they should not play any second fiddle role by accepting to become presidential running mates to other nationalities. Well, that's unlikely to happen. Something tells me that most of the candidates this time around will be from the South, and I don't see how a South-South, how anybody will set up a South-South team to run for presidency. Well, it's good. I had always wished that, to make this go around and let us have peace in the land.
Yeah.
It would be nice. Excuse me. It would be nice for once if we had a president of southeastern extraction. I hope it does happen at some point. But speakers at the function included Abaribe, former presidential candidate of the YPP, Kingsley Moghalu, Prof. President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo, George Obiozo, Prof. And Chief Emeka Okonkwo. What the Igbos need to do, like other people really should do, is to consolidate. I'm not too sure about making sure that all the candidates of the 19 major parties are from the East. I think they need to consolidate and put their eggs almost in one basket so that they can have one strong voice. It would be nice if we had an Igbo president, and I'm not being sarcastic about it. It would just bring peace to the land. All the things that people have put down on reasons they have given, for me, are neither here nor there. We need peace in our land. The North has had an attempt. The North has had presidency. The Southwest has had the South. So why not round it up with the Southeast? After that, it can become open to everybody.
Do you think there's a fear for an Igbo president?
There's a fear because some people haven't gotten over. That's the honest to God truth. Some people on the other side haven't gotten over the effects of the Civil War. And this mistrust happened even long before. I don't want to go into the history of the Nzegu and all these things. I don't want to go into that history. One, will never live here. Two, it's time we put these things behind us and move forward. In all honesty, they're Nigerians. They have the right. They must be accommodated. The war was over how many years ago? And I just think fair is fair. Whatever you might think. If you don't trust certain persons, why should they trust you? You understand? It's simple. Let's put it bluntly. If you don't trust certain persons and say, if this happens, that will happen, fair enough. Why should they trust you? And so, if you want peace in the land, some kind of we need to, because see, we can't develop under the dispensation that we are in. We can't develop. As the politicians at the top divide us more and more, they are cleaning us out. That's what it is. We're falling for a boogie. They're criminals that once we are fighting ourselves outside, Igbo, Yoruba, Aboki, doing all these things. At the top, when it's time for people at the top to share all proceeds, you don't hear any quarrel. Nothing goes on. You'll be hearing my brother from another mother, my brother from across the Niger, my brother from this and from that. Nigerians should get smart. Should get smart. Let's all be fair to each other and accommodate and tolerate ourselves.
Right. Let's go to page 20 of the Punch newspaper. FG calls Emirates bluff. Airline bans Nigerian travelers again.
I read this story over and over again, and I almost put a call through to my favorite doctor, Dr. Ayeni. Because what is the problem? The problem with Emirates and the Nigerian government is that Emirates insists that they would love their passengers to do a test on the spot before you board that aircraft. And the Nigerian government says that it's called a rapid antigen test before departure. Emirates insists on that, and that is what they do in everywhere they operate. But Nigerian, they reject the condition, saying the infrastructure for rapid test was not available. Isn't that a disgraceful thing to say? And because of that, this is a country that is predicated its economic recovery on FDI, foreign direct investment. Now you have an airline like Emirates you can't have a meeting with them. Okay, you can't. Maybe I am sure that Emirates might even have the facilities to conduct the tests themselves. But you say because you don't have, they can go to hell and do as they please, and that's what they jolly well do, and that's what foreigners will keep looking at. After all, it's for the safety of everybody.
Okay.
I don't know why we play politics with the simplest of things, the most minute of things.
Right.
How I don't know why. I don't know if you need a whole laboratory to conduct. I don't know what it is.
There are that's why I said kits out there that people. I mean, that's what Emirates is saying. Like, do this thing, and you're over. You're done.
Exactly. I don't know if you need a 6-story building laboratory to conduct an antigen test. I don't know. I don't understand these things. Wait a minute. I flew Emirates in December.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. It must have been so inconsequential. I try to remember. I think we did when we got to Dubai, flew in from London, got to Dubai. I think we just take the thing, put it in, and then say, okay, go. It's so simple. Maybe there's more to this than meets the eye. Who knows? Who knows?
Okay.
But for now, Dubai travelers, sorry. Find somewhere else to go.
No, I can imagine some things will skyrocket. Some products that, businessmen and women who go to Dubai to go get there.
Well, not just that. You now have a situation, and I think it's worldwide. You don't know what to do with yourself when you're on holidays. This is my holiday period now. I can't go anywhere. I'm not going to go and quarantine, sit somewhere for 10 days.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen. You know?
Let's take the Punch again. Page 2 of the Punch is here. This story says, bandits, herdsmen, farm occupation. Insecurity grounds CBN borrowers, farmers say loan repayment difficult.
Well, the Buhari government anchors one of its achievements in the agricultural area. And apparently the insecurity that we have is making life difficult. For example, a farmer here says, I was kidnapped for a month. My crop destroyed. I don't know how to pay CBN loan. Another one says, I took 1.3 million naira loan. Bandits destroyed my farm. I couldn't harvest a bag of rice. That's a Zamfara farmer. The Ekiti farmer said that, look, the insurance we took only covers flood, fire, and it excludes cattle menace. Ekiti Maize Farmer says it won't be easy to pay back ABP loan. Maize farmers say we are being asked to repay, but insurance doesn't cover cattle menace. Sokoto says that rich farmers are now taking refuge in the IDP camps. So and another group of farmers say if we don't pay APB loan, CBN will not give us another. I think the federal government needs to intervene very, very quickly before we discourage those who have gone into farming from looking for other businesses.
I think they're already discouraged. Most of the farmers are out of the farms. They're starving. They're struggling to feed their families.
Well, the government needs to intervene. I mean, in other countries, that's exactly what would happen. We are always quick to aid the airline industry. This one is, I think, is much more important.
The UN came up yesterday with a warning that we're staring farming in the face right now in the country. Yes.
Famine. Spell the famine we are staring at.
Farming, like you are running out of food.
I'm just joking.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I'm just joking. I mean, sometimes we have to let go.
I get it, but it's quite serious.
It is.
And you now have farmers crying out here.
Two things bother me about what you just said, famine. By the way, the famine is talking about FAMINE. Two things bother me. One is the scarcity of food. The prices of foods have gone completely bananas. One. But two, the compromises those who have it are making to achieve super profits. I understand now that, I don't know for sure, but I understand now that, for example, meat is being injected in some markets. After it's been slaughtered, they put some chemical in it to, whether to get it swollen, I don't know. You remember we had the issue also with chicken.
It's
horrible. Now, even with plants, even with, with vegetables, I have a problem now with the egusi that is being produced now. It tastes like paper. Here's some fertilizer, whatever, so loads like that. Even banana looks unripe outside, but looks very ripe on the inside.
Exactly.
I don't know how that. I used to love bananas.
I put out a tweet some time ago, and I was asking people
when did you put out a tweet?
I think some months ago,
okay.
and I was asking them what do people think that these fruit sellers use to ripen or to hasten the fruit?
It's some chemical.
And they were giving me all sorts of chemicals, sorts of chemicals.
Yes.
And you go to the fruit market today and you see how exorbitant the prices are.
Yes, and it's because of
very expensive.
It's because they can perceive the looming scarcity ahead, and in order to try to meet the production and make more money, you get off. So we are being poisoned every day. You need to be very careful where you buy your fruits, where you buy your vegetables, where you buy your meats. I don't know. Sometimes I ask myself, is life worth living? You provide your light, you provide your security. Well, you can't provide your roads, but you keep spending money maintaining your car. Now in the area of food is expensive and it's not even healthy. We have a big dilemma on our hands.
It's not healthy at all. And government needs to come in and do something very urgently, very, very quickly. Let's take this headline before we go. NSAS protester still in prison with newborn. Bail application not heard.
Again, we'd like to appeal to the authorities in Ondo State to intervene on humanitarian grounds. We'd like them to intervene. If anything at all, take this woman out of prison. You can keep her under lock and key. Maybe the governor's wife can stand for her, keep her under lock and key, or things like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a sad thing to behold every morning in the papers that somebody just gave birth in prison. The baby the mother is imprisoned, the baby is imprisoned for an offense that hasn't even gone to trial. It hasn't gone to trial, and I would like to plead with the Ondo State government to intervene as quickly as they can.
All right.
To save the situation.
So what's coming up at 9, Jimmy?
We had a promo outside. We had a promo that was released last week, was it Friday?
Okay. And
is impinging why black man they suffer. We want to look at ourselves, look at our thinking, look at the way we do our things, and ask ourselves, why are we suffering? As Nigerians, we just use black man as a generic whatever.
Yeah.
But why Nigerians what are we doing right and what are we doing wrong? Why are we so gullible to quickly follow things? We're going to look at a whole range of issues as much as we can within the 1 hour.
Fantastic.
So it should be interesting. So I have a guest, Dubi Mavora. He's a lawyer in the UK. He's an Ifa devotee. He's into African affairs and so on and so forth.
Did you say Ifa?
Yeah, he's an Ifa devotee. I said that purposely. I wanted to catch your attention there. So what? He's an Ifa devotee.
It's okay. I'm looking forward to it.
As soon as you come, he will pray for you.
He's coming here live.
He's coming here live. This is what, and he's bringing his what do you call it now?
I'm just leaving now.
Look at him, black. You see, this is part of it. Look at him, black.
Many thanks, MT and Jimmy. Thank you for coming. We're back with the news after now. Lagos, join us again. We'll be right back.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.